and welcome to the Thriving Relationship Masterclass. We are so happy you are here.
Hi, I'm Bret Eartheart.
And I'm Christine Eartheart.
And we're the founders of the Center for Thriving Relationship. And thank you so much for trusting us and giving us some of your time. And we're going to make sure that we make it worth it.
Indeed. We are so excited to share with you the 6 essential pillars for what it really takes to take your love to the next level and create a thriving relationship.
You're really in the right place if you care about relationships at all. And if you want to maximize the potential in the relationship that you're in or in future relationships if you're currently single. And, so if some of you, are probably in new relationships and you're just here to make sure you get the best start possible. Others of you, probably been in a long-term relationship and you always want to do that maintenance or to do that kind of continuous upgrade or to heal things, that kind of painful things that have happened in the past. So you're in the right place.
Yeah, maybe you feel like you're just kind of going through the motions. You've gotten stuck in some unhealthy patterns that life is full. And so you keep doing those things over and over again, even though they're not really working. So we just invite you to set aside this time right now and allow this to be like pressing a giant reset button to really recalibrate to what we found well over a decade of serving thousands of couples, that we have no doubt these are the things that if you strengthen and reprioritize these, you will truly get to experience a relationship that grows stronger and better through the years. And having been together 20 years ourselves, we can say everything we share is completely laboratory tested. And also we just want to say, if your partner isn't with you right now, we honor you for being here, and rest assured that when we change, our relationship is really like a mirror and it changes as well. So wherever you are, really, really tender place, looking for a big breakthrough, on the edge of separation, or in, a great relationship, and you just want to see how good it can get, we have packed this with goodies that we really deeply hope are of service to you. So let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So we want to lay out our true method, and this is the Thriving Relationship Upgrade that we want you to be experiencing for the rest of your life. We want you to kind of continuously be upgrading your relationship, growing into kind of that next level of what's possible, of more joy, more connection. And so we have created a system where there are 6 pillars that really emphasize like that, those critical kind of must-do 6 areas of relationship where, if we get all of these kind of, 6 pillars firing, at a high level, like there's no doubt about it, like we're going to be in a thriving relationship.
Yes, and it's such an honor to get to share them with you. So we'll be going over pillar 1, which is personal responsibility. Pillar 2, which is all about filling up your love account so it stays in the positive. 3, secure attachment. 4, communication. 5, repair. And 6, physical intimacy. So we're going to share a little bit more about what are these pillars and why they matter, so you can start strengthening them today.
Why would we invest so much of our kind of time, energy, effort to be in a thriving relationship, right? Well, the answer to that is many-fold. And for one, the most important part of our life is our long-term romantic relationship. I mean, this is really kind of what we build the foundation of our life on, and, couples in thriving relationships, they just do better in pretty much every sector of life. They are healthier, they experience more happiness, they, do better in their careers, do better financially on average. So, there's so many reasons, right, to really invest heavy in a romantic relationship.
Yeah, so even if you're not convinced that investing in your relationship is worthwhile, kind of your time and energy, if you want all these other things in your life to be better, this is the place where you have so much leverage. Actually, one of the longest studies on happiness, looking at like what are the greatest indicators or predictors of, is someone going to be happy? Looking at, their level of health or their socioeconomic status, so many different things. a lot of those places are really hard to predict whether or not someone will be happy. But the one predictable place is the quality of someone's most intimate relationship. It really reflects just our overall life fulfillment and well-being. So it is awesome that you are here. You are really a relationship pioneer. What we're going to be sharing with you are things that most couples in the world are not aware of. So we just want to deeply recognize you for that, for the greater good of all.
And just so that you know kind of who we are really quickly. So this is our family. There's on the screen is a picture of us with our son and our 3 rescue dogs. So our son Mayan, our pups, Lovebug, Wonder Boy, and Snuggabella. So yeah, this is us. And, we have a very just, kind of simple family-oriented life. And like Christine said, everything that we talk about, we've really practiced in our own marriage over many years.
Yeah, it's really our greatest passion now. Our purpose is really at the heart and center of our life. And there's little we love more than connecting in this heart-centered way with other people around the world. So if you were in front of us right now, just know that we would want to give you a big hug, if you are indeed a hugger. So we're going to share with you a little bit about our story, and we're going to share it in the context of the 5 predictable stages of a thriving relationship, to share more about us and a little bit a window into our journey, and to help you kind of place where you might be, and just to invite you into seeing relationships in a more expanded way. So here are the 5 stages: the romance stage, power struggle, commitment, growth, and thriving. So we're going to map out for you what these look like. So romance stage, we'll share for us. So 20 years ago, when we first met, both of us had actually been writing these love letters, really like a journal, to this person we would someday meet. Totally mystical, right? To discover when we actually met that we both had been doing this. We had both been taking walks in the woods, like talking to this person that we would someday meet. And so amazing. We gave each other our best. It was pretty magical and sparkly, as the romance stage is. And it's okay if it wasn't that for you. Very often, though, it is full of hopefulness. We're not keeping score, right? We're just like, oh my goodness, how can I light up this person's day and their world, studying what they're into and what they love, staying up for hours on end, listening, wanting to know everything about how they feel, how they see things. So beautiful. And we are in an altered state, and this is essential to the survival of our species, that in those moments, we can't really see the whole picture or the whole person. And this is beautiful. So in some ways, we don't see clearly, and in other ways, we actually see so clearly. We can really see into the essence and into the heart of someone is. And over time, we can actually lose touch with that, because who they are gets filtered through our own fears, our own wounding, our own perspective and judgment. So we want to actually return to a bit of the romance stage later on, and know that this is a part of it. And if you stay together long enough, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when you will get to the power struggle.
And in the power struggle stage, it's really where our needs start to come into conflict with each other. In that romance stage, we are in this state of kind of elevated neurotransmitter levels, and everything's just so much easier because we're in this blissed out state. When those neurotransmitter levels come back down towards normal, then, we kind of go into our default mode where, we tend to kind of be more selfish oriented and worried about getting my needs met instead of about worrying about meeting the needs of my beloved. And so in that power struggle stage, right, it's like, like I'm kind of fighting to get my needs met, you're fighting to get your needs met, and we're coming into conflict. And this is just a problem of perception. In reality, there's always a way to get both of our needs met at a high level, if we're coming at it from allies and teammates and, kind of using our creative mind, instead of our conflicted mind.
Yes, absolutely. So for us, got together, so amazing. Then fast forward a few years, we are parenting our young son. We own a home together. Life is full and busy. And we both had done lots of personal growth and never did we think we'd be getting into little arguments about the dishes, and it was happening. So again, this is normal, whatever it is for you. So the kind of top areas of conflict in relationships tend to be household chores, domestic kind of duties, parenting, finances, and sexuality. And so we got to a power struggle, and one night that I'll never forget, sitting on the couch, we really looked at each other and realized, like, this is not bringing out our best anymore. And we realized we had three options. We could either keep doing what we had been doing, which neither of us wanted. We wanted more for each other and for ourselves. We could just bless each other on our separate path, and we came really close to that. Or the third option was, maybe there's more that's possible and available to us than what we had tapped into. Maybe we could just dive in and learn everything we possibly can about relationships, because even though we've done lots of personal growth, relationships really require a unique skill set, and they're uniquely humbling because, excuse me, in the context of relationships, everything comes to the surface. There's no place for anything to hide, any unconscious part of us, any part of us that needs healing, any part of us that needs more awareness or growth or love or acceptance, whatever it might be. It all comes up to the surface, which can either be a source of greater pain, greater disconnection, frustration, or a source of our greatest awakening and growth and healing. So that night we ordered this tall stack of books. And at the time it was CDs and DVD courses. And we dedicated every night to what we called conscious date night. And we would just learn, and we started applying these things and traveling all over the country, going to couples retreats, and our relationship completely and utterly transformed. So we moved from the power struggle stage, and we'll talk a little bit more about what those things look like in a power struggle stage for you, into commitments. We're like, we don't really know the way, and we are committed. And so we invite you in this moment to make this powerful commitment. Like, you don't need to know the way. All you know is, let's dive in and take our love to the next level, which is such a powerful defining moment.
It was so fascinating to realize that personal growth was not relationship growth. That we had done all this personal growth work, but that we had done very little relationship growth work. And so we were like these kindergartners when it came to relationship growth. And we did the research and got passionate about studying relationships. Realized that there is this whole kind of set of tools for relationships, and they really work when we work them. Right. And so, we're, feel like so blessed to have, acquired the information that we did. And that's what we, really want to pass on to the world now. So these stages of relationship are just so important to understand, right? We're always going to hit that power struggle. It's just a question of when. And then, the way through that power struggle, is not, to end the relationship, right? It's not like, oh, this is hard. It's not supposed to be hard. I'm going to leave and go into another relationship where it's easy, right? And which it will be easy initially because I'll be in the romance stage of that next relationship. But if we want to, really experience the depth of love that's possible, we need to go beyond the power struggle. And that starts with commitment. And that means making a profound commitment to this relationship. And that also means cultivating a commitment mindset that is permanent, or that I at least have most of the time, where that commitment mindset is where I'm telling myself that when something is happening in our relationship that that I don't want or I'm not happy with, instead of just blaming the other person, which puts us right back into the power struggle, I am asking myself continuously, oh, what am I doing to create this? What does this relationship need from me to thrive?
Yes, absolutely. So that's where you are right now. You are like most couples on the planet. So rest assured, if you're in the power struggle stage, so often we can mistake that for a dead end. Like, if this is meant to be, it shouldn't be that hard. This is not how it looks in the movies. And so we just think well, I don't want to suffer. And so the way is out. Or you see those couples, maybe you've been one of those couples where you're just caught in a lifelong power struggle where you're continually nitpicking and nagging, you're frustrated, you're annoyed, anger and resentment is just kind of bubbling just beneath the surface. So we send so much hope your way. Make a powerful commitment, then growth. And so that's what we did, right? We just learned all the things. There truly is this proven roadmap. It works predictably, repeatedly. It is amazing what's possible. It is such a privilege to do this work, to see couples come in and they feel miles apart and they're like, is there any hope for us? They'll kind of share with us their story. And we always tell them, it's like, it's not a matter of how big the challenges are. It's really, are you committed? Are you willing? If you're willing, anything is possible. So then it's going into growth, and then it's into thriving. So we want to learn all the things you just never learned. Most people, don't have role models. We'll ask people like, who do you know that has a thriving relationship? And they kind of think about it, and it's hard to think of someone. And so there's a whole new template. And then you move into thriving, which is really the best part of the romance stage, because there's still that spark. There's that commitment. You're focusing on each other's best. You're giving each other your best, and you have this compelling vision for your future and this deep safety and trust. So it's loving and accepting all of who each other is and finding a way to harmonize your differences, because we're actually drawn to someone that is going to harmonize with us. In the power struggle, though, it seems like we're just completely, speaking different languages on opposite planets. And thriving, though, it's like, oh my goodness, we can balance one another and teach each other things that we never would otherwise learn on our own. And so that is really our calling, our mission in the world, is to help couples move beyond the unnecessary suffering that happens in relationships, and to really tap into all the love and all the joy that's possible. And yeah, that was our journey. We now are really in the marriage of our dreams. We just want to see how good can it get. And throughout a couple's journey, it isn't that you permanently stay in thriving. It's like, oh, you'll end up back in a power struggle. And it's like, okay, let's recommit. And rather than it taking months or years, maybe it's 5 minutes later, hey, let's recommit. What do we need to learn? How do we need to grow from this so we can get back into thriving as quickly as possible and spend most of our moments there? So let's dive into pillar number 1. So hopefully that helps just give you a little bit of a framework for what is a thriving relationship and where are you on that and what's possible for you.
So pillar 1, taking personal responsibility. So I mentioned, as part of that, a very important part of that commitment mindset is the not blaming my partner when something's happening between us that doesn't feel good to me, doesn't feel safe to me, right? And when we take personal responsibility, when I kind of give up my relationship addictions, and by addictions we mean that addiction to being right, that addiction to hearing myself talk, to my addiction to blaming the other person, instead of looking for my faults, my mistakes, criticizing my partner. When I really need to be like vulnerably, acknowledging my needs, right? Criticism is a much kind of safer, way to communicate, albeit very destructive. Just being, that feeling significant of like, I'm right and you're wrong, right? Gives us like a feeling of control and power. And so, we get a shot of adrenaline, right, when we do these things. But it is so kind of unfortunate, sad, and destructive in our relationship.
For sure. That's what people often will say to us, our clients, like, I swear I'm a nice person. Why do I keep like blaming my partner? Why does it even feel good sometimes? So if that's you, rest assured you are a good person. And it really is. It's like relationship crack. It's so highly addictive when we want to like feel more significant by making our partner less significant. And it will never, ever give us the expansive, heart-opening feeling of what love and peace and connection are like. So these are, we go after these experiences because in the moment they're deceptively kind of appealing, and they're completely empty, and they come at a great, great cost. So just want to name those if you have them, because those are the top ones. And so our way out of them, is really, these are our 2 favorite questions to be asking in relationships if we want to really tap into our own greatest wisdom, our own greatest leverage and opportunity to affect change. If you want things to be better, it's so easy to tell ourselves like, well, if my partner would just do this, we'd be so much happier. Everything would be okay. And yes, there probably is something to that, right? Because you have really valid needs. And your partner probably also has some version of theirs of, if you only did something, we'd be so much happier. And so if we keep waiting around for our partner to change, we're going to be waiting a whole lot longer. And instead, this is what sets us free. This is what really allows us to shift things so much more quickly, is to look at, how am I creating this? So this is pillar number one, is taking personal responsibility. And we're not suggesting you are the one who has been solely creating any of this. Almost always relationship challenges on some level are co-created. Not everyone. Most often, though, they are co-created. This is just looking at your role in it, because when you show up differently, the world shows up differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Not every problem is co-created. Most of them are. Right. So if, you're going to like play the statistical likelihood of, when something's not going well, you can, kind of just bet that you have a part to play in that. And that's where you want to start looking at the situation from.
Yeah. So the question, how am I creating this? So rather than like, my partner never wants to hang out with me, it'd be looking at like, I wonder, am I doing, what am I doing that maybe is pushing them further away? Or what could I do that would make us spending time together even more appealing? Or my partner never listens to me. Be looking at like, I wonder if I'm communicating in some way that's making it hard for them to hear me. Or I wonder how I could communicate in a way that makes it easier to really listen. So there's so many ways we can kind of flip this around to look at, hey, how am I creating? How am I contributing to this?
Yeah, we want to always be asking ourselves, like, what does this relationship need for me to thrive, right? This should be a lifelong question that we ask ourselves daily. And that answer to that question is going to change dramatically over time, right? Like today, this relationship needs me to be a better listener to thrive. And 5 years from now, it might be to complete my graduate degree. Or to, study financial planning for a retirement. So, getting better at parenting skills, right? So it's going to change dramatically over time, but this is where, our relationship really, if we're asking that question, what does this relationship need for me to thrive? It is motivating me to do like my growth, to become that better version of myself over my lifetime.
Yeah, because this is really the profound part of relationships. There's so many reasons why we love relationships. We really consider them human growing machines. They are like the greatest catalysts, and they're a mirror. So whenever in this relationship, I ask myself, what does the relationship need from me to thrive? It perfectly reflects an area that I need to grow in order to keep evolving into a better version of myself. And so whatever it is for you, so the things Bret mentioned, it could be learning how to manage your stress better. It could be learning how to lean into your fears in some way, or do some healing around something. Infinite answers to the question is, what does the relationship need from me? Just know that it is such a powerful opportunity and such a gift that your relationship is inviting you. It's really calling you forward to step into some part of yourself. So we're just going to quickly touch on relationship poisons, just so you can kind of have a name for like, here are some of the things that I'm probably doing in our relationship that isn't getting us the results we really want.
Yeah, so those relationship poisons are things that we do when there's an unmet need, and we're having an unhealthy kind of reaction or response to that. We in a long-term relationship, there's going to be countless times where we have unmet needs. We want to get good at vulnerably acknowledging those, making, kind of sweet requests, but we all have some bad habits around using relationship poisons instead, where it's like, well, I'm having a fight or flight response, to a fear in my relationship. And so I'm getting critical, I'm getting blamey, I'm like withdrawing, pulling back, right? And we know that just puts us in these kind of repetitive cycles where we're just hurting each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just want to, give yourself and your partner so much compassion. Yeah. We go into relationship poisons because, yes, we have beautiful, precious needs that aren't getting met, and we're just trying an unhealthy, ineffective strategy that isn't working. And there are different strategies that will work so much better, and it's because some part of us feels scared. If our friend says, I'm going to quit my job and just go live on the road, you might be like, yeah, go for it. If your partner says that, it brings up a much greater threat, to whether or not your own needs will get met. And so we go into fear, and we go into fight, flight, freeze, faint, fawn. And so almost all poisons fall under a fear response when we really look deeper into what's driving it. So we're just going to take a peek at this. So this is what we mentioned underneath these poisons. It's just because there's an unmet need that we're trying to meet and it's not working. But when it doesn't work in relationships, what do? Oftentimes we then double down and we do that same thing even more. It's like, I'm going to criticize my partner. That doesn't work. So I'm going to criticize them even more. Or I'm going to check out, hope they get the hint. That doesn't work. I'm going to check out even more. Works even less. So here are the top 10 relationship poisons, just in a nutshell for you to see like, okay, where there's some familiar ones, again, with so much grace and compassion for yourself and your partner, and to know that there's a much better way. And anytime you're doing one of these, you're probably not going to get the love you really want.
Yeah, so there's, blame and criticism, that's like trying to exert control, trying to blame the other person for what's going wrong. That's the poisons where we're not being vulnerable. There's contempt, right, which is usually a sign that there's unhealed trauma in the current relationship or in my past, in other kind of intimate relationships.
And by trauma, it could be, there's not a term for relationship trauma, so it could just be moments that have just built up over the years, or a moment of great need when you really needed your partner to show up and they weren't there. Or it could just be things that have gone unaddressed for so long that resentment has built. So many moments of trying for your partner to hear you and they haven't heard you. It can. So it looks like name calling, eye rolling, mimicking your partner.
So controlling or dominating, and that's where like we're, feeling some kind of anxiety within, and we're trying to exert control out here in order to like calm my anxiety. There's checking out, there's getting defensive, there's, secrets and dishonesty.
Using the past as weapons. You'll see within all of these, there are lots of different ways it shows up. Thinking you know it all, having to be right, and unwillingness to change and to accept influence from one another, invalidating each other, arguing when you're highly triggered, never a really good idea unless you are highly skilled in how to offer each other empathy. And just a note, we get asked it a lot, like, what do we do? Is it better to step away? Yes, and well, it's good to take some time to calm down, and you first want to offer each other assurance. I care about you. Your feelings matter. I'm going to come back. We are going to resolve this. We're going to find a solution together. So you don't just want to leave. That can actually exacerbate the issue. So yes, any sort of hiding, any place where we're withholding something is some place where we're unable then to experience love and connection. So there's lots of ways each one of these shows up, and these are just some ways. So believing everything you think, so that's like maybe you get in your head and you tell yourself a story, you're upset about something like, you never do anything around here, or you don't really care. If you cared, you would, ... And if you're just going on believing that and not questioning those thoughts, it's going to create a cascade of emotions and totally change how you show up for your partner.
Yeah, neglecting the relationship. Every relationship has a minimum requirement for the amount of time together, for, date nights, for romance, for intimacy, affection. And so if we're not giving our relationship those minimal requirements, then our relationship is really suffering. That not loving and caring about ourselves, right? We all need to do a reasonable amount of self-care just to be able to kind of show up and be able to create a healthy relationship with our beloved.
Yes, absolutely. So you can pause this video, you can rewind to kind of look at some of those and identify like, oh yeah. Sometimes it's so helpful just to have a name for it. That's what we love. We love creating tools and handouts and giving people a whole vocabulary. It's like all of a sudden we can name it and we have a language for it. Then it no longer just becomes something we are, it's something we can like look at, and it's not who we are. It's something we have the opportunity to really transform and set free. And we can find a whole different pathway that's full of so much more ease and grace. So great job taking responsibility, looking at some of the areas that you've been showing up that haven't been helping. And what a wonderful thing to name these and recognize them, because every place you're doing something that hasn't been working means it can just work so much better moving forward. So Pillar 2, positively fill your love account.
So every relationship has a love account. And, what's the balance of your love account? It's like this love account is something that we put deposits in, that we make withdrawals from. And, this is great for, people that just have a very kind of practical, mindset in life, or think about it as like our checking account. And we all know what happens when, we're making more withdrawals from our checking account than deposits, right? Things get very painful very quickly. We immediately, feel the pain of, bounce check fees and, things just cascade and kind of spiral in a downward negative direction very quickly. So, we want to make sure that we're always putting more withdrawals into our love account of our relationship than taking withdrawals and deposits. I'm sorry, deposits. Yes,
you got it.
And to realize that we have humans have what's referred to as a negativity bias, which means negative interactions or experiences imprint kind of more than positive ones. And this is just an evolutionary trait that we have. It's served us well for many eons. But today, it actually kind of works against us in some ways. And our relationship is one of those where, because of our negativity bias, we need a dramatically more positive than negative ratio of interactions in our romantic relationship in order to feel like a relationship is positive. Dr. John Gottman has done some great research in this area, where he, through studying, hundreds of couples, did some statistical analysis that indicates that couples need at least a 5-to-1 positive to negative ratio of interactions, and really benefit most from having a 20-to-1 ratio of positive to negative interactions. So the good news is we don't have to do it perfect. Like even at that 20-to-1 ratio, well, 5% of the time, we can be, like irritable or a bit moody with each other. And that's okay. Like our relationship will have the resilience that's not a big deal. But, but we have to be, in that mostly positive interaction, most of the time in order to have that resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is not about keeping scores. You're not tracking your partners.
Yeah.
This is solely for you to look at on your own. So say you weren't in the best mood or you take your stress out on your partner. No problem. You're human. We're all lifelong students here at Earth School. Now it's just time to put some more deposits in to counterbalance it. That's what this is. And so we invite you just to take a pulse. Like, where are you when it comes to the love account? Have you been taking out more withdrawals or putting in more deposits? This is a brand new moment that's never been here before. And so this is your opportunity to really commit to putting those in. And there's so much more we could say about like the most effective ways. And you can have those conversations with your partner about how to really be filling up the love account. The most important thing is though, just be listening. Your partner will tell you like, what are the things that mean a lot to them? And how do you just start doing more of those even before you feel it? Like act lovingly before you even feel the surge of love, and it will lead to love. And one notion we love is you want to grow what's strong rather than spending all your time fixing what's wrong. It's so important to address conflict, to, have those more difficult conversations. And we're spending all our time doing that. It's going to be exhausting, and our love account, is going to be so depleted. And when it's depleted, we just tend to see each other's worst intentions. Whereas when it's full, we give each other the benefit of the doubt. There's just this resilience. There's this ease in our interactions. We're really positioned as allies and teammates. It's such a beautiful thing. We love the analogy of relationships being a garden. They really are living things. They're always either growing or dying. So if you're not nurturing your relationship, it's probably deteriorating. you can change that, shift that in any moment. Like, oh, just time to like fill it back up. So if you've got some weeds, that are starting to grow in your garden, time to do some of the weeding, plant some more flowers, and you'll be amazed by how quickly things can really start to change. All right, so strengths-based relationship, just a passion of ours that we needed to just acknowledge here, because it was one of the most powerful things we did in our relationship, is to recognize that in the power struggle, we tend to focus on each other's best, or in the romance stage, we focus on each other's best. Power struggle, we tend to focus on each other's worst, and how important it is to flip the coin back over and find those beautiful things we fell in love with. Like, for example, you could have fallen in love with how someone was really easygoing. Power struggle, you're like, oh, they're slow or boring or lazy. We put all these judgments on it, and we lose touch with the beauty, with the abundance of what our partner's really bringing to us. So we want to be focusing on the best in each other in order to bring out the best in both of us. So important. It's something that, we have a coach certification program where we're continually helping our coaches really have a strengths-based lens, because a lot of times we hear when people go get couples counseling or coaching, they just feel worse about themselves and each other afterwards. And rest assured, you can go so deep. You can have the most healing, profound conversations, really, truly heal and complete the past. And it gets to be enjoyable and meaningful. We know your time is limited. Life is busier than ever for a lot of couples. And so just want to acknowledge in the spirit of this positive love account that you can make such a difference in your love by bringing in more of the good. So pillar 3, let's do it.
Pillar 3 is create secure attachment. And so we, love this, kind of attachment theory, comes from Jonathan Bowlby's, kind of proposed theory, in the 50s and 60s, and Mary Ainsworth research that, as much as the theory can be proved factual, was that, we are social animals, and having safe social connections, safe, intimate connections, is part of our fiber, that are like our core of our being. And, for us just to, feel like good consistently, for us to feel secure, to feel like the world is a safe place, and I'm, in a good place in the world, we need these kind of, safe, social, intimate connections in our life. And some of the kind of research that's been done in this area actually shows that, we will prioritize social connection even above like food, and shelter. At times, so again, this is, attachment theory is creating secure attachment in a relationship, so critical to our sense of well-being in the world, in our health too.
Yeah, and so I just want to debunk some really common myths. Maybe you were raised in a culture or a family that really valued independence. So independence is beautiful. We absolutely want to have the most wonderful relationship with ourselves, and to feel that sense of freedom, and to give our partner the same. And you may have adopted some beliefs that overemphasized autonomy and independence. So this myth, a healthy, mature adult is not supposed to need emotional connection. Myth debunked. Research backs it up. Of course, we need emotional connection. We don't only need it, we thrive with it. It is so good for us. Or we should be fully self-sufficient. Nope, we are social creatures. We really need one another. We are really interdependent, and it's such a beautiful thing, because it's in the collective that we can actually be and achieve so much more. It's just wise and efficient and effective to really work collaboratively with one another. Or that people who need or depend on others are dysfunctional, enmeshed, codependent, merged, fused, too emotional, needy, the cause of marital wreckage. So yes, there are such things as an imbalanced dependency on someone else, of course. And we just want to really bring this up because it's so important, and the amount of shame and judgment and the amount of pain this causes in relationships that we've seen doing this work. It is just really remarkable what happens when a couple learns how to reprioritize each other, to be emotionally available and engaged and responsive to one another, to know in the depths of their being that they are with someone who has their back, who is their number one fan, who will be there, and that when they're going through a challenging time, they're going to get through it, together. They're going to find some creative solution. All these things just calm our nervous system and really bring out the best in who we are individually and who we're capable of being together.
Yeah, it's fascinating. When we really understand like secure attachment, it just changes how we see the world, how we see ourselves and our species. The feeling of being safe, right? For our physiology, to be healthy, right? For our health to be vibrant, we have to feel safe. And it's not just the absence of threats that cause us to feel safe. There has to be the absence of threats, but there also has to be the presence of connection for us to feel safe. And that's the part that we're too often missing, especially when we're just stuck in kind of painful cycles with our beloved.
Yeah. So the benefits of secure attachment, so many, less easily upset, so much calmer, so much more at peace. The irony, which is so amazing, is that the more securely attached you are, the freer and more independent you are. So all good things kind of arise out of secure attachment. And it will just allow you to feel so much more resilient from the stressors of the world, so much more strength, the two of you. So well worth investing in creating. And these are really the key questions based on the work of Dr. Sue Johnson that we're asking, not necessarily consciously, but on an unconscious level. We're kind of scanning the environment, scanning our relationship, not just with our partner, with others as well, especially our romantic partner. Can I count on you? Emotionally, logistically, all the things. Are you there for me? Will you respond to me when I need you? Do I matter to you? Am I valued? Am I accepted by you? And do you need me? Because we also need that as well. So just invite you to take a little pulse on how are you doing? Do you feel securely attached? And if not, we just cannot recommend highly enough that you just devote time and energy towards creating that. You will be in awe of how it just is so life-changing. And to begin to see, like, when we're in conflict, it's not about what we see on the surface. It's not about the dishes. It's not about the finances. It's not about, what happened when we were visiting the in-laws. It's not about that. Underneath it, there's some emotional disconnection, something that has severed our secure attachment. And so that's what you want to repair. So often couples are just reacting to the surface, and that won't get you anywhere. We always need to look like what is really there? Like, what's the heart of it? All right, wonderful. So
pillar 4 is to learn how to effectively communicate. We find that, when people are not communicating well, it's not because of the subject matter. It very rarely is. It's very rarely the case of, we're talking about a specific subject and we have irreconcilable differences. It's very rare. And so, we find what the problem there is how we're talking to each other, how we're communicating to each other, how we're not listening to each other, how we're stuck in these two monologues, right? Where, we have that kind of that addiction to being right, or, to wanting the other person to hear me first. And, we're just kind of, trapped in our heads, and there's no connection happening in our hearts.
Yeah. And so, we're communicating, but I'm not really, we're in our own heads, not hearing each other. And so listening is what is so key. There's so many elements to communication. There's many communication tools that we've developed over the years. And if there's one thing that we see that couples could really benefit from, all of us humans, right, is learning how to really, really listen, learning how to offer empathy. It's like when we feel like someone hears us, We drop our defenses, we open our heart. The irony is the more you'll actually hear someone else, the more likely they'll actually be willing to receive and hear what you have to say too. Leads to secure attachment. It creates an actual dialogue rather than two monologues where we're each just turning up the volume, using more words, stronger words, louder tone, or we're withdrawing even more just to try to get our partner to hear us. And so we can actually communicate and hear one another and have a dialogue and get curious and collaborative. So important. It's so beyond right or wrong. It's just recognizing that we all on some level make sense. So it's just getting out of our head, dropping into their heart and seeing like, oh, okay, I want to really hear, what is that deeply like for you? So beautiful. And we just want to really focus on empathy before advice, before feedback. What we humans long for is to feel like someone hears us, to know that they're with us in it. It really signals to the brain that I am safe because you're right by my side in it. I don't need to go above and beyond or dig my heels in even deeper just because I want you to get it. It's like, oh, you get it. Here's a challenge. We're side by side looking at it together, and now we can move forward, finding some win-win way to get both of our needs met. All begins though with listening.
All right. Pillar 5, always take time to repair. It is inevitable that we're going to hurt each other over time. Any long-term relationship is going to have a certain amount of pain in it. And that's because we're so important to each other, that it's not like, if my partner, if they're tired, irritable, hungry, they're having a really hard day, they're overwhelmed, they do something, they say something, that hurts me, right? It's like, it's because they're so important to me that hits me hard. If a stranger on the street, did something unkind to me, I'd be like, whoa, they must be having a hard day. Like I wouldn't take it personal. It wouldn't bother me. But we're each other's like person in life, right? We're each other's like most important person. So these painful interactions is inevitable, and that's okay. We can get through these painful times if we do our repair work. So we want to do things right so that we're rarely hurting each other, and then when that happens, we want to make sure we're doing the repair work, which actually can create deeper intimacy over time, because it's like we learn to trust each other, right? We have these kind of intimate, vulnerable moments when we do that repair work. So we can actually come out of these painful experiences more connected, kind of just with a deeper kind of, intimate bond if we're doing the repair work right.
Yeah, we really are learning and growing, like, because oftentimes once we can really understand what was going, if we've done the repair work, then next time when that same thing is happening, we're not in our heads, just making all these assumptions, these judgments, reacting in a way that is just going to cause further harm. We recognize, we call it wonder and look under, to look underneath the surface, which happens in repair when we're calmer, centered, like, okay, that's what was really happening for you. Now I know that in the moment. So powerful. And just connected to repair, the number one predictor of divorce is actually our unwillingness to accept influence from our partner. And so in repair, it's really in the spirit of, I want to hear you. I want to own my part of it. I want to apologize freely. And I want to really learn, what is it that you actually need in those moments, and get willing and lean in. So powerful. And then it becomes this upward spiral of growth from there. And we get to use all of it. It's like the things that really we saw as our barriers, our challenges, become the building blocks, the springboards into the greatest love imaginable. So make sure you're doing your repair work.
Yes. So pillar 6, nurture your physical intimacy. And, we're talking about physical intimacy, or we mean, touch in all forms, kind of affectionate touch, sensual touch, arousing touch, erotic touch.
Yeah, so most of us growing up, we really grew up with maybe fear-based education. So in the schools, in your household, whatever it might be, the focus was probably on how do we avoid getting pregnant, how do we avoid getting STDs, things of that nature. So totally understandable learning about our anatomy, and probably didn't learn a whole lot about your pleasure anatomy or how to keep the spark alive in long-term love, or what exactly is desire and arousal, and especially as it changes over the lifespan. And yet, so we don't learn this stuff, and yet here we are in long-term love or in adult relationships, and we expect that we or our partners that we're just going to know what to do. So we just want to give you so much grace if this is an area in your relationship that's like, oh, this is a weaker pillar. You are not alone. It is the case for the majority of couples that this is an area over time that starts to fall away. And there is a way. It's just, again, these are like skill sets we need to learn. It doesn't just come intuitively. Once you learn it, you're like, oh my gosh, now I have the flashlight. Makes so much sense. I see everything differently. So incredible.
Yeah, physical intimacy, it's really about play, pleasure, and connection, and like it's, our erotic relationship, our sex life is really adult play, right? We want it to be, kind of very playful part of our life. It's a great way for us to experience pleasure, right? We're here to enjoy life. And so we want to have our sex life, our intimacy, our affection, kind of like fire on all cylinders to really experience the pleasure that we're capable of in this life. And it's a very important part of connection. Even people who say, it's like, oh, don't touch me, just like, give me space, don't touch me. Well, there's been actually experiments done with people who report that, but then when they're given touch, their nervous system responds very positively. It actually really, counter to what their conscious mind is saying, their subconscious is really responding very positively to affection or calming touch.
Yes, this is good news. If you feel like you are incompetent or incompatible in this realm, it's usually that's not the case. It's just a lack of information. You probably just like really reflect, like, gosh, where in my adult life have I really learned how to keep the spark alive, how to keep passion alive, how to really nurture our physical connection? It's probably been trial and error, which is what most couples do, which involves a whole lot of trial, a whole lot of error, and you might never really find your way. You just kind of give up a lot of times. So the challenges, of course, when you don't have a strong physical connection, cascade of problems that happen outside the bedroom. So it's not just about your physical connection. It can definitely perpetuate insecure attachment, emotional distance. It can bring up a lot, particularly for one partner, might feel really rejected, hurt, alone. If you're not having sexual touch, non-sexual touch tends to fall to the side as well. The relationship can just start to feel more mechanical, like we're like roommates or, kind of business partners, maybe co-parents, but not like there isn't that sparkle, which is such an amazing, amazing thing to experience. Bitterness can build, resentment. It definitely increases the amount of misunderstandings, and just the amount of conflict tends to increase when this pillar is not strong. You can feel alienated. There can be anger that's just bubbling just beneath the surface. Definitely increases the likelihood for infidelity. It's not the only reason why infidelity happens, and it is one kind of leading contributing factor. And you might just worry that you're missing out on something great in life. You might fantasize like, oh, it would be so much better if I was just with somebody else. And that's a painful thing to live with day in and day out, that you're inherently kind of unfulfilled in this relationship because you're not experiencing this wonderful, fulfilling physical connection.
Yeah, with our sex life specifically, if our sex life is going well, we get a little 15 to 20% positive like bump or level of satisfaction in our relationship. But if our sex life isn't going well, it contributes up to 50 to 75% of the dissatisfaction in our relationship. So we want to make sure that, that's a part of our relationship that's getting its due attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So many good things come from it. And of course, what is healthy, what's fulfilling to each unique couple is going to be different. So there's no right or wrong way. It's just learning, how to connect there. And the number one reason why couples seek help around their physical connection is called desire discrepancy. Research shows up to 80% of couples experience situations where one partner regularly wants sex, the other doesn't. So that's just a differing interest in your desire around sexuality. So we just want to acknowledge that. You aren't alone. There is absolutely a way to find each other so you both feel fulfilled in so many other life areas, because it extends way beyond your physical connection. Really, really amazing. We just want to share one thing with you around that might be helpful. There's so much more we could share, but we wanted to share this.
We really want to understand the dual control model of sexual response. And that's, where, we understand that our libido has a accelerator and a brake. And, we live in a world that is more stressful than ever, right? It's like we're all busier than ever. It's like that things are more stressful than ever. And this is doing a lot to press the brakes on our libido. And, so if we don't understand this, right, then, and that desire discrepancy exists in a relationship, I'm taking it personal, right? I'm thinking, well, you don't care about me. You don't care about my needs. You're not attracted to me, or, and right. It's like, it's probably creating a tremendous amount of conflict, or disconnection, or just, loneliness in our relationship. And so we have to understand these kind of brakes and accelerators. Yeah,
it can really create a power struggle, because some people really long for emotional connection before wanting to be physically close. Other people long for physical connection before wanting to be emotionally close. And so if neither partner is willing to budge, as you can see, neither partner gets their needs met. So yeah, this is just so powerful. Again, so much more we could share. We just wanted to introduce this to you if you're not familiar with brakes and accelerators. So brakes are the things that turn us off, things internally and externally, and accelerators are the things that really turn us on. And the number one challenge usually when desire discrepancy, especially, is something are up for a couple, is because they have a sensitive brake. And so it's learning how to turn, how to release the brakes, how to turn on the accelerators. There's a whole system to doing so. For now, just realize that there's so much hope if you experience this desire discrepancy or physical intimacy is so important. It's really an essential pillar. And how cool that we have this dual control model of sexual response. And maybe I've been looking in the wrong place, and maybe it's about really, how do I take a foot off the brake? So way to go, everyone. Amazing, amazing, amazing job.
So those are 6 pillars.
Yeah, hopefully this gave you an opportunity just to do a little check-in with yourself, like, okay, how are we doing in each of these pillars? Where is there opportunity for us to take things to the next level?
Yeah, we just wanted this masterclass to be kind of a conversation starter in your relationship, and to see, kind of start that process of getting your thriving relationship upgrade. And, if you need more support, we just want to be here for everybody. We want to be like that safe, nurturing place that people can come to when you need some extra support in your relationship, to get you from, either that painful or that okay place or good place, to thriving, right? Which is where we all want to be.
Yeah. So it's like a question we ask, all the time when we wake up every day. It's okay, how can we best serve the world? And how it's like the fastest, most ease-filled, enjoyable experience to help couples. We just see couples all over the world in so much pain, and we're like, oh, we feel it in our hearts. Like, it doesn't have to be so hard. Good intentions, successful, kind, loving people. And so falling in love, so easy, right? And this is the VIP program, was kind of created out of that question, because we can fall in love. Yeah, most people really easy, but staying in love, it really requires a skill set, and people don't realize it, because you might think like, oh, knowing how to relate to my partner, that should be easy. Nope, we're not inherently, we don't inherently know how to do that. It's so learnable. And once you know how to do it, really, you'll be asking yourself, oh my goodness, why have I not learned this? Why don't they teach us in schools? Like, it changes everything. That's really what we hear almost unanimously from the couples that we've been so honored to support, is, why did we wait so long to learn this? It changes everything, because we end up reacting to the surface rather than what's really underneath. And we just really, the learning curve is so sharp, and we don't really know how to get our needs met. And so it just becomes this power struggle.
Yeah, we've worked with over 1,000 couples in our private practice. And so during that time, we just developed, countless tools. We're probably upwards around 100 tools now that we've developed over the years that we know really work because we've used them in our own marriage, and we've used them with these, kind of over 1,000, people that we've, kind of sat in office with and used them with, face to face. So we know they work. And in the modern world, relationships mean something very different. Like in our generation, the importance, the relevance, the level of need that we put on our romantic relationship is very unique in human history. So in some ways, that makes relationships harder than ever. But what I really mean there is that we just need a better toolkit than ever to make it work.
Yes, yes, yes. And it really works. We now, we have a thriving relationship coach certification program. So we have students all over the world applying these tools with other couples. And they're like, oh my gosh, we keep getting these stories from them. Like, this really, really, really works. Couples that felt like they were at a standstill or just felt disconnected or thought they couldn't go on any longer are now like more in love than ever. So if you are stuck in any sort of misunderstanding and you want to have great communication, yes, yes, yes. If you have just gotten in some sort of rut or unhealthy dynamics, so common, and you want to have a healthy and harmonious way of relating. If you feel disconnected, you want to be deeply connected. If your needs aren't getting met, your partner's needs aren't getting met, and you haven't found a way for both of them to get met, and you both want to feel fulfilled, yes, yes, yes. Or if you just feel like you're on different pages and you want to be a team, again, best friends, allies on this wonderful adventure of life. Maybe there's resentment from the unhealed kind of wounds from the past that are really preventing you from moving forward together. Oh my goodness, we are so here for you with all our hearts to experience deep healing and growth to kind of, learn and grow from that. So it's this upward spiral from here. And if you feel like you've lost the spark and you want to have this renewed inspiration in your love, oh my goodness, get ready for that. If you heard about secure attachments, like, yes, I want that. We've got you. If you just have this knowing that you have the potential for more together, and why not? It's like, if a thriving relationship is possible, why not create one? And so one thing that we love to do is just imagine ourselves at the end of our life and ask, like, would we have any regrets if we stayed where we were, if we kept doing things how we are? And that's just our little loving invitation to you. It doesn't need to be this program. No, we would be honored to support you in any way. And we just invite you and encourage you, if you would answer yes to that you would have some regrets, that this is the moment. This life is so, so precious, and it's not too late, and so much more is possible. It's probably way easier than you realize once you know the way.
Yeah. So this VIP program, we know it's a roadmap that works. It's so rare, that we've ever worked with a couple who didn't deeply love each other. That is almost never the problem. Like couples, it's like we love each other, but it's just a case of we don't know how to do this in a way that works really well for both of us. And so that our VIP program is a roadmap, to really give people that structure, right, to in a system that we know that works. And there's a lot of accountability structure there. Yeah,
because it happens when it's a couple. You'll buy a book, you'll buy a course. So wonderful, best of intentions. And we get it. We've been there, and then life gets busy. You get really pumped up, and then it's back on the shelf or on your computer, just sitting there waiting for when time magically opens up. So when we were just reflecting, what does it really take? You need a roadmap, which a lot of times when people go to couples or marriage counseling, they go into the session, they're like, I don't know, we just went there and we kind of argued. You don't leave with something really concrete that you then are armed with in this treasure chest that you have for the rest of your life. So the skills, the accountability, so you're actually doing the work, that you're staying on track. So important. Getting individualized support, because sometimes there's just those sticky things, those conversations that don't tend to go well. Having somebody come in and offer you a neutral perspective facilitate a whole different kind of conversation around it and can give you a breakthrough in one session that you've maybe struggled for 20 years to do on your own. And then being inspired by others. Thriving relationships are so contagious. We love being in group settings with people because that's why we've included that as one component. Optional in this is because as one of us rises, right, we all rise. Also convenience, couples are busy. If you've got maybe kids, childcare, all of that. It's like we want to make it at home, totally accessible and completely confidential. We know your relationship for a lot of you is really, really private. And so to experience transformation, you might want it and feel scared. This is like so safe, so accessible, so safe for you wherever you are. If you've shied away from, couples counseling in the past, like I don't want to, whatever it might be, I don't want to share these things with someone, or we don't really need it. This is like, we have just filled it with safety, with so much love, acceptance, zero judgment, really one great big team.
Yeah, so our VIP program, it's something that you can go through as a solo person or as a couple, and it's 90 days. And we wanted to make it 90 days so that, it gives you plenty of time to really implement and solidify these new great habits in your life. And so there's 12 modules and guidebooks. It's like we go over those 6 pillars in depth, and we give you very concrete kind of tools and exercises for each one. There's 6 private sessions with a coach that we personally trained. So our coaches go through kind of very rigorous training program. They're amazing, truly, truly talented people. And you get 6 of those sessions, private sessions, to kind of help you, have that accountability and that motivation to really go through and complete this program. And there's 10 group coaching sessions, and and you can do those confidentially, or a lot of people, just like they love the community of those coaching calls.
Yeah, and with those, you can always, those will be with the 2 of us. So the private sessions are with our coaches. Again, they're amazing. Yeah. And we also, you get to pick what coach you're partnered with, and you can change if you just want different perspectives. You get to choose. Mornings, daytimes, evenings, weekends, they are available to you. And the group coaching calls are with the 2 of us. Yep. If you want to keep things totally anonymous, you can submit your questions ahead of time and we'll answer them live. We'll also do live kind of laser coaching. You can keep your video off or on, totally up to you. Always post the replays. And we've kind of scattered those at different times to accommodate different time zones. So excited to connect with you in that way. You can always just watch the replay and you'll learn so much by seeing your own patterns play out in other couples. You're going to feel, way less alone, and you'll get so many insights like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what we do. Oh, I can see it so much more clearly now. It's so cool. People, when we lead live weekend retreats, that's really people's favorite part. It's really, really special. So you get lifetime access, you get replays to everything, and you have it and can follow along at your own pace. It is structured to be 90 days, and there's so much flexibility in that. And there's 100% satisfaction guarantee. We just deeply want to serve and support you and want you to get so much value out of it. We stand behind these tools and this roadmap with every bit of our being and behind our coaches and this methodology. And if for some reason you do not get value out of it, no problem, no risk. Just reach out to us and you will get your money back. The program, you'll see, if you go to that website, you'll see so many details. Anything you might want to know about it. You can also, there's a free 20-minute consultation on that page that you can sign up for. We really combine both the heart and the science. We love helping you understand what's happening in the brain, the research that's been done, as well as really connecting to the heart, because this is where connection is. It's self-transformative. So if you want to do individual growth, it will transform your relationship. It's really life-changing. It's taught by us as a couple, which is really unique. A lot of these kinds of programs are taught by an individual. And so you're going to get the male and female perspective, longtime psychotherapist, longtime coach. And so you get those 2 different perspectives as well. And we go really deep, and we also love to have fun.
Yes. We do love to have fun. It's got to be fun, or we won't keep doing it. So we make it fun.
Yeah. So on that page, you can see all the different modules, the different themes we cover, everything that should answer all of your questions. And we just want to let you know, we are running a special, enrollment is open right now. And we have a special coupon code for you, Spread the Love. So just type that in all caps, no spaces when you go to checkout, and you get $100 off. There's nothing we love more than being of service and support. That is why we got into this work. We experienced our own relationship transformation and felt a responsibility. Like, we need to share this with the world and what we've gotten to witness in other couples. And so we want to make this doable for you. So if there's anything we can do to support you, we are so here for you.
Yeah, and we really, price this, we wanted to ask ourselves, okay, how can we price this where it's affordable to everyone? Yeah. And it's a great deal. I'll just say that, especially when you consider it's got 6 coaching sessions as part of it. It's an amazing deal.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So there's the code. Again, there's an opportunity to sign up for a free 20-minute consultation. It is no pressure at all. These consultations, they are laid back. It's like having a cup of tea with a good friend where you can answer, ask anything to make sure it's a really good match for you, because that's what we want more than anything. So those are completely confidential. You can go solo or with your partner. So we welcome you. We would love to go on this journey with you. It would be such a joy, such an honor to see you soar and to help ensure that at the end of your life, you know that you really prioritize, that you committed to, and that you made the most of these precious moments together.
Yeah, our relationship, it really is like the most precious thing in our life. And yeah, we just want you to know you're not alone in it. And like, we're all here to support each other. And so anything we can do to support you, just let us know. Just please reach out.
Absolutely. Whatever that looks like, we are here for you. It'd be our honor and joy. And so grateful to have you in our community and really to be on this journey with you. So sending so much love. It's been such a gift to spend this time with you. Hope that it was meaningful for you, and we are cheering you on.
We're cheering you on big time. Okay. Much love.
Much love.